And I think the level of violence, um, like how quickly it's escalating socially, aside from what's being presented, on social media and so on and so forth, but just it's a lack of manners in general. You know what I'm saying? Like that was one good thing about the church institutions, that it used to give this layer of a code of behavior that at least was grounded in courtesy. You know what I'm saying? Like at
Mm-hmm.
least it gave you the excuse me, the no thank you, the yes please. Like that was one institution, even if your family wasn't teaching it, that you had an opportunity to learn a social code, to interact politely in society, right? So now that somehow that's dislodged, you know what I'm saying? I just see more and more just disregard. It's almost like I feel like we got to take it back to punching people in their chin, like just to try and reestablish some balance. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I was standing right here, you felt the need just to, whatever, step on my shoe, to cut me off, to, whatever list of discourtesies you can think of. It's just like seems to be an escalation of that. So I'm interested in the balance. Like, how do we balance the behavior that leads to, to a possible self defense situation like that? It seems to be a factor in it as well.
Exactly. Like I said, if it's a mentality, it's a worldview, it's an ideology. And one of the main things is that you don't offend and you don't transgress on others. You understand what I'm saying? And because if you do that, resistance will be met. So part of someone who's in the mentality of being into self-preservation, defending themselves, they're not quick to fight with someone else because they know what it's going to lead to. So you let me not do that because I don't want to get into a fight, because they understand you fight, it's just that. It's a fight. They're going to get dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we start teaching the culture of, self-preservation, self-defense, in general, that's what I said, it's a mentality that needs to be practiced, period. See, we don't have no problem fighting each other. You understand? We don't have no problem doing that because we've always been trained that that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? That same person that was telling their son turn the other cheek against the race soldier was the same person telling their son, hey, man, pick up a stick and hit somebody if you have to, if they're trying to jump on you. Well, you already know 9 out of 10, your son will have to use that stick against another black face that look like his. Now, you telling him to use a stick against these kids, but you telling him to turn the other cheek against these kids. See, this is psychological dysfunction we got going on.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? We teach our children not to stand up against people who don't look like them, that's trying to hurt them and oppress them. But we teach our children, you better knock that nigga head off. You see? So this is some part of things that also creates the culture of why a cat don't feel no problem disrespecting you. Why? Because he been given that green light by his parents, by people who love him. You know what I'm saying? But if that people that love him taught him, listen, don't be the aggressor. Try not to fight, not necessary. Only fight when it's very necessary. And you do that with anyone who was trying to bring harm to you. Anybody who's trying to head off. Anybody.
Yeah, because that's what's interesting. The few murders that have been caught on tape and made public, where the police are claiming that there was like they were resisting arrest, and like Eric Garner, the New York cat, like if that big man was actually resisting, like it would have been more trouble. He was merely not. I mean, first of all, the police, how they define not resisting is is very different. You know what I'm saying?
I counted 8 times. He said he couldn't breathe. I don't know how many times you counted.
Yeah, but I'm saying before it got there, like if he would have started fighting, like as big as he was, that would have been if he would have been aware that I'm about to be murdered, and he actually brought a self-defense principle to that fight, it would have went differently. Not saying that they wouldn't have murdered him, but what resistance looks like for grown men is not that. And I don't see it in these situations where they accuse these people of resisting arrest.
And he might be alive. You know what I'm saying? He might still be here today. Now, he might be in jail. You understand? But he might not even be dead. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, we got to stop even using the conversation. He might have get murdered. No, he might have lived. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's just like, the thing is, you know what? We know whatever's supposed to happen happens. Okay, that's cool. We all right, we'll recognize that for people who are on the higher spiritual vibration. All right, that's cool for people who want to make that argument. But then it's like we have to make the argument too that people who have this higher spiritual status, and y'all know, more important than anybody, y'all got to help establish justice on this planet. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, it's like, okay, like me, I man, like I said, I counted 8 times, and I hate seeing. And I'm probably gonna say something that's controversial, and I hope I don't offend nobody that's a friend or a relative of Eric Garner. But I'm just speaking as a victim that grew up in the inner cities and the concrete jungles of what we call North America. You understand me? And every time I see that video, I can't, or any other video, it's a black man getting choked out or stomped out or whatever by a race soldier with a badge on. I can't help, but specifically since we talk about Eric Garner, I just can't help but ask. You let Ray from up the block choke him out like that. I highly. And so my thing is, this is why I say self-defense.
You said you highly what? Doubt it?
I highly doubt he would let Ray from up the block choke him out like that. I highly doubt it.